The Galactic Empire's ultimatum echoed across the galaxy, their broadcast cutting through every channel, device, and communication link. Their spokesperson, a tall, metallic-skinned being adorned in shimmering robes, spoke with cold certainty. "Humans of Earth," the voice declared, layered with an artificial resonance. "You stand at the edge of history. Kneel before the Galactic Empire, or be erased." The display shifted to showcase their power. A vast fleet of warships, gleaming like malevolent stars, hovered above a barren planet. With a simple gesture, the planet was obliterated in a cascade of light. The implication was clear: humanity's defiance would end the same way. Across Earth, leaders sat frozen in fear. The broadcast had reached every home, every office, every soldier stationed at the farthest outpost. The people watched in silence, the weight of their mortality pressing down on them. A voice broke the stillness, not from Earth's officials, but from an aging soldier seated in a dimly lit room. Colonel Henry Iron Graves, a veteran of countless terrestrial conflicts, leaned back in his chair, his fingers brushing over the faded insignia on his chest. His eyes, sharp despite the wrinkles that framed them, watched the broadcast with measured calm. "Bold of them," he muttered, the corners of his lips curling into a faint, almost humorless smile. The Galactic Empire's spokesperson continued, their voice dripping with disdain. "Your primitive weapons, your fragile defenses, are nothing against us. Surrender, and perhaps some of you will live to serve. Resist, and you will share the fate of that world." The broadcast ended abruptly, leaving the ominous silence of space to fill the void. Graves stood, his boots scraping against the floor, and reached for the comm device beside him. The room wasn't grand. No polished surfaces or digital screens cluttered the space. It was simple, functional, and suffused with a faint smell of oil and metal. "Get me the council," he said, his tone steady and commanding. Somewhere in an underground bunker, leaders from every corner of Earth debated in hushed tones. Fear was etched into their faces, their arguments fractured by desperation. They had seen the display of power, they knew the odds. When Graves walked in, silence fell. His presence commanded it. "They think they've already won," he said, his voice cutting through the tension. "And that's their first mistake." The leaders looked at him, searching for reassurance, for guidance. One of them, a younger woman, asked hesitantly, "Do we stand a chance?" Graves' gaze swept the room. "They've seen our cities, our weapons, our defenses. What they haven't seen is what makes us human. They don't know how we fight. They don't know that we've been preparing for this day." A murmur spread through the room as Graves' words took root. He leaned forward, his voice dropping to a near growl. "Let them come. They'll learn soon enough. We're ready for this." Graves stood before a dimly lit command table, its surface alive with holographic projections of Earth, its orbit, and the Empire's approaching fleet. Around him were the best minds humanity had to offer: generals, scientists, strategists, and a few leaders who had shed their fear in favor of action. This was no ordinary war council. It was a gathering of humanity's collective ingenuity, forged by decades of conflict and survival. "Let's be clear," Graves began, his voice firm. "We don't match their firepower. Their ships outgun ours. Their technology is more advanced. But that doesn't mean they've already won. If they think we'll fight this war on their terms, they're dead wrong." The room stirred, confidence slowly replacing doubt. A scientist in a lab coat stepped forward, her hands moving over the holographic display. "We've been preparing for this scenario since the first extraterrestrial signal reached Earth," she explained. "They see us as primitive, but we've developed countermeasures they'll never expect. Stealth technology, EMP weaponry, cyber infiltration systems, tools designed to exploit their overconfidence." Graves nodded. "Good. Let's keep them underestimating us. The more they believe their own arrogance, the greater our advantage." A general, his face hardened by years of combat, spoke up. "Our fleets are small, but they're mobile. With the cloaking systems, we can evade detection long enough to strike critical targets. Hit and run. Disrupt their supply lines, sabotage their communication relays. They won't know what hit them." The hologram shifted, displaying Earth's surface. Underground bunkers, hidden factories, and concealed silos were marked in glowing blue. A quiet reminder that humanity's strength wasn't in towering cities or visible defenses, but in the shadows where their resilience had taken root. "It's not just our military," another voice added, this one from a civilian representative. "Our people have been training. Not just soldiers, engineers, medics, hackers. Everyone has a role to play. If the Empire thinks we'll crumble under pressure, they don't understand what desperation does to humans." Graves let the room absorb the weight of those words. He turned to the hologram again, narrowing his eyes at the simulated Empire fleet. "They've probably spent centuries in peace, their wars fought at a distance by machines and overwhelming force. But war isn't in their blood. It's in ours. We've been fighting each other since the dawn of time. We know sacrifice. We know pain. And we've learned how to win from impossible odds." The scientist hesitated, then asked, "What if it's not enough?" Graves looked at her, his expression unyielding. "It will be. Because we're not just fighting for survival, we're fighting to remind them why they should have left us alone. This isn't about pride or revenge. It's about making sure they never think of Earth as an easy target again." He paused, letting his words hang in the air before delivering the final thought. "We fight smart, we fight together, and we fight until they realize what it means to face humanity." The Empire's warships descended through the atmosphere like mechanical gods, their sleek, obsidian hulls casting shadows over Earth cities. Orbital bombardments began almost immediately, targeting key infrastructure with ruthless precision. Towers crumbled, bridges disintegrated, and firestorms swept through urban centers. To the Empire, it was the beginning of a swift and decisive conquest. But as their forces pushed forward, they encountered an unsettling resistance. Their scanners, so reliable in previous campaigns, struggled to locate hidden human installations. The cloaking systems humanity had spent decades refining were working flawlessly. Empire commanders grew frustrated, unable to predict where the next strike would come from. Without warning, the first wave of humanity's counterattack struck. Small, agile ships, barely blips on the Empire's sensors, emerged from the shadows. They didn't engage head-on. Instead, they targeted the Empire's supply ships, cutting off fuel and resources with surgical precision. Explosions erupted in the upper atmosphere as the invaders' logistics began to crumble. On the ground, the Empire deployed their advanced shock troops, tall, metallic warriors with energy weapons that disintegrated anything in their path. They expected a straightforward ground campaign, but humanity had prepared for this too. Guerrilla fighters led by seasoned veterans like Graves set ambushes in dense urban environments and dense forests. Improvised explosive devices, electromagnetic traps, and sniper teams turned every battlefield into a nightmare for the invaders. The Empire's soldiers, built for efficiency, began to falter in the chaos. They were designed for overwhelming force, not prolonged, chaotic engagements. Humanity's irregular tactics, fighting dirty, exploiting terrain, and outsmarting rigid strategies, pushed the Empire's forces into a defensive posture. Graves, coordinating from a secure location, monitored the progress with unflinching focus. His voice carried across encrypted channels, issuing orders and adapting to the enemy's moves in real time. Hit their weak points. Keep them chasing ghosts. Make them doubt their own superiority. In one key engagement, a group of Empire ships moved to bombard a suspected human stronghold. What they didn't anticipate was the trap laid for them. A series of high-altitude drones, loaded with EMP charges, detonated above the fleet. The ship systems went dark, leaving them vulnerable to a wave of human fighters that tore through their formation. The psychological toll on the Empire's forces became apparent. Their commanders, accustomed to quick victories, began issuing conflicting orders. Troops on the ground, cut off from their chain of command, were isolated and picked apart by human teams working with precision and determination. Despite the mounting casualties, humanity's resolve never wavered. Graves' voice echoed through every communicator, reminding soldiers and civilians alike why they fought. They think they're invincible. Show them they're not. Every ship we take down, every soldier we stop, sends a message: Earth doesn't break. By the end of the first day, the Empire's forces had suffered losses they hadn't anticipated. For the first time, their aura of invincibility began to crack. Humanity wasn't just surviving, they were winning. And the Empire had no idea how to stop it. The tide of battle shifted as the Empire's fleet faltered. Their once coordinated strikes became disorganized, their soldiers hesitant. Reports of supply line disruptions, sabotaged communication relays, and ambushed ground forces poured into their command centers. For every advance they made, humanity countered with unpredictable ferocity. Graves knew this was the moment to press harder. Their bleeding resources, morale, and confidence, he said, addressing his team over the secure network. Now, we show them what it means to fight a war they don't understand. In orbit, humanity's stealth fighters launched a coordinated strike on the Empire's flagship. The massive vessel, a symbol of their domination, was protected by an energy shield so advanced it was thought impenetrable. But humanity had planned for this. A team of hackers, working from a concealed bunker deep beneath the surface, had infiltrated the Empire systems days earlier. With precision, they disabled the shield at a critical moment. The flagship became a beacon of fire as humanity's missiles struck its vulnerable hull. The explosion rippled through space, sending shockwaves through the Empire's fleet, both physical and psychological. The loss of their flagship, their command hub, left the remaining ships disorganized. On the ground, the remaining Empire troops faced relentless resistance. Civilians joined the fight, armed with scavenged weapons and improvised explosives. Engineers rerouted power grids to create EMP bursts that disabled enemy mechs. Medics worked tirelessly to save as many as they could, even under enemy fire. The Empire's soldiers, so reliant on their advanced technology, found themselves overwhelmed by the sheer determination of their adversaries. Graves personally led the final ground offensive. With his years of experience, he anticipated the Empire's moves, exploiting every weakness. "They're pulling back," he said, a grim satisfaction in his voice. "They thought they'd break us by now. Instead, they're running scared." As the Empire's forces retreated, humanity delivered one last, unified message. A global broadcast, led by Graves, was sent directly to the Empire. Standing tall, his weathered face a testament to countless battles, he spoke with unwavering resolve. "To the Galactic Empire, you came to conquer. You believed we'd kneel. But you've learned the truth. We don't fall. We rise. You may have power, but you lack what we have: determination, ingenuity, and the will to fight for something greater than ourselves." His gaze hardened as he added, "If you return, it won't be Earth you face. It'll be a united humanity, stronger than ever. And next time, there will be no retreat for you." The Empire's response was swift, a ceasefire. Their fleets, battered and humiliated, retreated beyond Earth's orbit. Humanity's victory was clear, but Graves knew this was only the beginning. As survivors cheered and began to rebuild, Graves stood alone, looking at the horizon. His mind was already on the future. The Empire would be back, and when they returned, humanity would be ready. For now, though, Earth had proven its strength, and sent a message that would echo through the stars.